Let me tell you about two people I know. Person number one makes $65,000 a year. He drives a 12-year-old Honda Civic with a cracked dashboard and a check engine light that's been on for 18 months. He lives in a small 2-bedroom apartment on the edge of town. His clothes come from a department store. His watch is a Casio. He just took 6 months off work to travel through South America with his family. He paid cash for the entire trip. Person number two makes $380,000 a year. He lives in a gated community. 2 new luxury SUVs in the driveway. His watch costs more than person one's car. Private school for the kids. Country club membership. The whole picture of success. He can't afford a $4,000 emergency car repair. He told me this last week. He had to put it on a credit card. He's one missed paycheck away from everything falling apart. Here's the question that keeps me up at night. How's this possible? How does the person with less income have more freedom, less stress, and actual wealth, while the person with a top 1% income lives in a cage made of his own possessions? This isn't a video about being cheap. And it's not a lecture about giving up everything you enjoy. This is about something much more dangerous. Something nobody talks about. This is about the difference between looking wealthy and being wealthy. And I'm going to show you the 8 hidden rules that separate the people who look rich from the people who actually keep their wealth. These aren't motivational quotes. These are patterns I've watched destroy high-income earners and silently lift low-income savers into real financial freedom. Let's start with the first rule. And this one is going to hurt. Rule number 1. Your largest expenses are mocking you. Here's what most people get backwards. When you get a raise, what's the first thing you think about? Usually, it's what you can now afford. A bigger apartment. A nicer car. Better furniture. But the wealthy, the ones who actually stay wealthy, do the opposite. They look at a raise and ask one question. What expenses can I keep exactly the same? Because here's the brutal reality. Your biggest expenses, housing, transportation, food, don't care how much you make. They only care about how much you spend. Let me show you the math. 2 people. Same city. Same income. Let's say $150,000 a year. Person A buys the $60,000 truck. Leases the luxury apartment for $3,500 a month. Eats out 5 nights a week. Looks successful. Feels successful. Person B buys the $18,000 used sedan. Lives in the $1,800 a month apartment. Cooks at home. After 5 years, what's the difference? Person A has nothing. Maybe some equity in a depreciating truck. No savings. No investments. Because every dollar of that high income got eaten by a lifestyle that demanded to be fed. Person B has over $200,000 invested. Because they made the invisible choice over and over again. But here's what nobody tells you. Person A doesn't feel like they're overspending. Every purchase feels normal. Justified. Even necessary. That's the trap. Rule number 2. The car in your driveway is probably lying about your wealth. I need you to hear something that might make you uncomfortable. The average new car payment in the United States is now over $700 a month. For luxury vehicles? Over $1,100 a month. Now ask yourself, what would happen if you invested that $700 a month instead? From age 30 to 65, at a 7% return? That's over $1.2 million. $1,200,000. For a car that spends 95% of its life parked. But it gets worse. Because we don't just buy the car. We buy the insurance for the expensive car. The premium gas. The expensive maintenance. The parking. The tickets. The identity of being someone who drives that car. And here's the psychological insight most people miss. When you drive an expensive car, you don't feel rich. You feel normal. Because your brain adapts within weeks. The thrill disappears. But the car payment? That stays for 60 months. Meanwhile, the person driving the 10-year-old Toyota? They don't feel poor. They feel invisible. And being invisible with money is one of the most powerful advantages nobody talks about. Because when you look poor, salespeople don't target you. Friends don't expect you to pick up the check. You stop trying to impress people who aren't paying your bills. I'm not done yet. Rule number 3. Lifestyle inflation is a silent addiction. Here's how it works. You get a promotion. $20,000 raise. Amazing, right? But before the money even hits your account, you've already spent it. A nicer apartment. A vacation. New furniture. Maybe a watch to celebrate. By the time the first paycheck arrives, you're exactly where you were before. Same stress. Same anxiety. Just with nicer stuff. This is what I call the hedonic treadmill. And it's not a character flaw. It's biology. Your brain literally rewires itself to see your new spending as baseline. As necessary. But here's what most self-help gurus won't tell you. The solution isn't willpower. The solution is structural. You have to build walls between your income and your spending before the money ever touches your hands. The wealthy person making $400,000 a year who still feels broke? They don't have a discipline problem. They have an automation problem. Their spending rises instantly to meet their income because there's nothing stopping it. The janitor who retires a millionaire? She didn't have superhuman discipline. She had money pulled from her paycheck into a 401k before she ever saw it. She made the decision once. Then the system did the work. That's the hidden rule. Rule number 4, your social circle might be slowly bankrupting you. I need you to be honest with yourself. How many of your purchases are actually about you? And how many are about keeping up with people you don't even like that much? This is the part of personal finance nobody wants to touch. Because it's uncomfortable. But the data is clear. Your spending is heavily influenced by the 5 people you spend the most time with. If they're upgrading their cars, you will feel pressure to upgrade yours. If they're taking expensive vacations, you will start to see those vacations as normal. And here's the cruel irony. The people you're trying to impress? They're also trying to impress you. Everyone is performing. Everyone is spending money they don't have on things they don't need to impress people who don't care. The wealthy, the ones who actually break free, they make a different choice. They're okay with being the poorest looking person in the room. They drive the older car. They wear the simpler clothes. And what happens? People underestimate them. And being underestimated with money is a superpower. Because while everyone else is bleeding cash to look successful, the person who looks poor is quietly buying assets. Freedom. Time. Rule number 5. Fixed costs are slow-moving financial poison. Let me explain this carefully because almost everyone gets it wrong. Variable costs are things like coffee, takeout, movies. These get all the attention. All the budgeting apps are built around them. But fixed costs are the real killer. Fixed costs are your rent, your car payment, your insurance, your subscriptions, your childcare, your minimum debt payments. Why are fixed costs so dangerous? Because they don't require a decision every month. They just happen automatically, silently. And because they're automatic, you stop seeing them. You stop asking, do I still need this? You just pay. Here's the shocking reality most people discover too late. If you double your variable spending, you'll notice immediately. You'll feel the pinch. You'll adjust. But if you increase your fixed costs by $500 a month, you barely notice. It just becomes the new normal. Until one day you look up and 70% of your income is already spoken for before you've made a single choice. That's the trap of the high-income poor. They don't have a latte problem. They have an apartment, car, and lifestyle problem. And those problems are hiding in plain sight. Rule number 6. Invisible wealth is the only wealth that lasts. Think about every wealthy person you've ever met. Not the ones on Instagram. Not the rappers with rented mansions. Real wealthy people. The ones with actual millions in the bank. Did they look wealthy? Probably not. They probably looked boring, normal, maybe even a little cheap. Because here's the pattern that repeats over and over and over. People who build real wealth don't need to look wealthy. Their self-worth isn't tied to their net worth. They don't need a luxury watch to feel successful. They don't need a German sedan to validate their existence. And that's precisely why they become wealthy. Because every dollar they don't spend on status is a dollar that goes to work. Every $50,000 car they don't buy becomes $400,000 in future wealth. Every $500,000 house they don't upgrade to becomes $2 million over time. Meanwhile, the people who look wealthy, they're not wealthy. They're just spending like they are. Big difference. One group is buying freedom. The other group is buying an audience. and the audience isn't paying attention. Rule number 7. Your future self is begging you to look poor today. Let's do one more piece of math. This one always gets people. Let's say you're 25 years old, and you make the decision to look poor. You drive the old car. You keep your apartment modest. You skip the status purchases. Because of these choices, you save an extra $1,000 a month. Not crazy. Very doable. By age 65, that $1,000 a month invested in boring index funds grows to over $2.2 million. That's not a guess. That's math. Now, what would you rather have at 65? A scrapbook of fancy cars you drove in your 30s? Or $2.2 million and the freedom to do whatever you want for the rest of your life? Most people say they'd take the money, but their spending says otherwise. Because the problem is distance. The future is far away. The car is right there. The dopamine hit is immediate. The wealth is invisible. That's why looking poor is a superpower. It's a vote for your future self. It's a commitment to delayed gratification in a world that has forgotten how to wait. Rule number 8. The goal isn't to be poor. The goal is to be uninteresting to the consumer machine. Let me be very clear about something. Looking poor doesn't mean being miserable. It doesn't mean never enjoying your money. It doesn't mean hoarding every dollar like a dragon. It means being strategically invisible. It means spending money on things that actually matter to you and cutting mercilessly on things that don't. It means knowing the difference between a genuine want and a socially engineered desire. The marketing machine spends billions of dollars a year to make you feel inadequate. To convince you that you need a new phone, a new car, a new life. That your current self isn't enough. Looking poor is your shield against that machine. When you look uninteresting, the machine ignores you. The social pressure fades. You stop playing a game that was designed for you to lose. And here's the beautiful part. Once you stop trying to look wealthy, you realize how little most of it mattered. You realize that the wealthy-looking people are often the most stressed, the most in debt, the most trapped. And the quiet person in the old Honda? The one nobody notices? They're the ones who can take 6 months off to travel with their family. They're the ones who sleep soundly at night. They're the ones who are actually, genuinely, quietly rich. Visual. Back in the car. Early morning light. Same quiet street. The expensive cars are still there. But now, you're smiling. Remember the two people from the beginning? The one making $65,000 who took 6 months off to travel? Here's what you didn't know. His secret wasn't deprivation. It wasn't some magic side hustle. His secret was simple. He refused to look wealthy. Every raise, every bonus, every unexpected windfall, he saved it. He automated it. He built walls between his income and his lifestyle. While his colleagues were upgrading their lives with every promotion, he kept living like a broke college student long after he stopped being one. And that boring, invisible, poor-looking habit? It bought him his freedom. Now look at the high earner in the gated community. He made 6 figures for years. But every dollar that came in went right back out. A nicer house. A faster car. A more impressive vacation. He was running a race he could never win because the finish line kept moving. He looks wealthy, but he's a prisoner. Here's the truth I want you to walk away with. Wealth is what you don't see. It's the money you didn't spend. The car you didn't buy. The upgrade you didn't take. It's invisible by its very nature. So the next time you feel the pressure to look successful, remember this. The person who looks wealthy is often the one with nothing. And the person who looks like nothing might just own the world. Look poor. Be rich. And sleep like a king.